It was late evening in a quiet human colony, a place built far away from Earth on the edge of alien territory. The streets were calm, the air felt heavy with silence, and most people had already gone back to their homes. Street lamps glowed with a soft white light, and the night sky above carried 2 moons. It was a peaceful place, but that night something strange was waiting to happen. The young man, Daniel, walked slowly across the street. He had just finished a long day of work and wanted nothing more than to reach home, eat something simple, and rest. His life in the colony was not exciting. It was just work, food, and sleep. He was an ordinary human among thousands of humans and aliens living together in this settlement. Nothing unusual ever happened to him. But destiny was about to change everything. As he turned a corner, he saw an old alien woman. She looked different from the others he had seen before. Her back was bent, her face full of deep lines, and her skin had a light green shade with tiny glowing spots that shined like stars. She was carrying heavy bags, 2 in each hand, and her steps were slow, trembling, almost painful. Daniel stopped for a moment. He noticed that many people were passing by. Humans and aliens both, but none of them tried to help her. Some even crossed the street to avoid her. It was as if they were afraid of her or maybe didn't want to get involved. Daniel felt a strange pull inside him. He could not explain it, but something inside his heart told him he could not just walk away. He took a deep breath and stepped closer. "Do you need help?" he asked in a gentle voice. The alien grandma looked up. Her eyes were large, bright yellow with a strange glow that almost felt like they could see inside his soul. She did not answer at first, only kept staring at him. For a second, Daniel thought maybe she did not understand human language, but then very slowly she nodded. "Yes." "Help," she whispered in a shaky but clear voice. Daniel quickly took the heavy bags from her hands. They were heavier than he expected. Inside, he could feel the weight of strange objects, maybe food, maybe something else. He could not tell. The alien grandma walked slowly, and Daniel walked beside her, carrying the load. Her steps were weak, but her eyes kept looking at him from time to time as if studying him. He felt a little uncomfortable under her strange gaze, but he tried to ignore it. "Where do you live?" he asked politely. She lifted a thin finger and pointed towards a small house at the end of the street. It was old, with strange symbols written on the door. Daniel noticed again how other people avoided walking near that house. It gave off a strange, heavy feeling, but Daniel pushed the thought away. When they reached the door, the alien grandma turned and looked directly into his eyes. Her stare was intense, almost too strong for an old woman. Then, without warning, she touched his hand with her cold, bony fingers. "You are kind," she said slowly. "You are chosen." Daniel froze. Her words sounded simple, but there was something heavy behind them. "Chosen for what?" He wanted to ask, but before he could speak, she smiled, a strange knowing smile, and took the bags from his hands. "Go now," she said. "You will understand soon." Daniel stepped back, confused. His heart was beating fast and a chill ran down his spine. He did not know why, but something about her words scared him. It was like she had seen a future that he could not. As he walked away, he turned back once more. The old alien grandma was still standing at the door, her glowing eyes following him. She did not blink. She did not move. She only watched him with that same strange smile. Daniel hurried home, trying to push the thought away. Maybe she was just an old woman saying strange things. Maybe it was nothing. But deep inside, he felt it was not nothing. Something had begun, something he could not understand yet. That night, when he tried to sleep, her words kept echoing in his mind. "You are chosen." He turned left. He turned right, but no matter what, he could not stop hearing those words. He had no idea that by carrying a few bags, his life had already changed forever. The next morning, everything would begin. The next morning started like any other for Daniel. The sun of this alien world rose with a soft orange glow, and the 2 moons were still visible, hanging low in the sky. Birds with crystal wings flew above the colony, making strange metallic sounds. Daniel tried to shake off the memory of last night, but the words of the alien grandma still echoed in his mind. "You are chosen." He told himself it was just nonsense, the rambling of an old woman. But deep inside he felt uneasy. Something about her glowing eyes, her cold touch, and her strange smile made his stomach twist. He tried to focus on his work, but he couldn't. By noon, his uneasy feeling became reality. 2 alien guards appeared at his door. They were tall, with gray armor and strange blue markings on their skin. Without asking, they told him he was required to appear before the alien council. Daniel froze. The council, why him? He had never broken any law, never even been close to trouble. His first thought was that maybe the alien grandma had accused him of something, but then he remembered her words and his fear grew deeper. He followed the guards through the busy colony streets. People stared at him, whispering, pointing, some with pity, others with curiosity. It was like they already knew something he did not. Finally, they reached a tall building shaped like a tower. Strange symbols glowed on its walls and heavy doors opened with a low hum. Inside was a wide hall, filled with alien elders sitting on high seats. Their glowing eyes all turned toward Daniel as he walked in. He felt small, weak, like a rabbit surrounded by wolves. One of the elders, with silver skin and long horns, spoke in a deep voice. "You humans stand before us. Do you understand what you have done?" Daniel blinked in confusion. I don't understand." "What did I do? I only helped an old woman carry her bags." The hall filled with murmurs. The aliens looked at each other, some smiling, some frowning. The elder raised his hand and silence returned. "That woman was not just an old one. She is a keeper of the ancient ways. By carrying her burden, you accepted a sacred bond. Do you deny this?" Daniel's heart raced. I didn't know. I was only being kind." The elder's glowing eyes narrowed. "Kindness is no small thing among our people." "It is a vow. It is a promise. Once made, it cannot be broken." Daniel felt the floor spin under him. A vow? A promise? He had only lifted a few bags. How could that mean anything? But here, in this alien culture, it meant everything. Another elder leaned forward, her voice sharp. "Do you accept the price of your choice? Or do you wish to dishonor our ways before the entire council?" Daniel's throat went dry. "What price? What are you talking about?" The silver-skinned elder stood, his voice booming. "You are now bound by the law of kinship. The one who aids an elder must join their family by blood. You will marry the elder's granddaughter." Daniel's mouth dropped open. The words hit him like a strike to the chest. Marry? Was this some kind of cruel joke? He looked around the hall hoping someone would laugh, say it was a test. But no one laughed. No one even smiled. Their faces were serious, cold, unshaken. He stepped back, shaking his head. This is crazy. I don't even know her granddaughter. I never agreed to this." The council's eyes glowed brighter. The hall's air grew heavy, pressing down on him. The elder's voice thundered again. "Do not insult our traditions. The bond is made. The path cannot be undone." Daniel's mind screamed for a way out. He wanted to argue, to run, but the guards blocked the doors. He was trapped. Then the council chamber doors opened. Everyone turned as the alien grandma entered. She walked slowly, but her presence was powerful. The crowd bowed their heads in respect. She moved straight to Daniel, her glowing eyes fixed on him. "This human is chosen," she declared. Her voice, though old, was strong. "He carried my burden. Now he will carry my family." Daniel's breath caught in his throat. He wanted to shout, to say he never agreed, but the old woman's hand gripped his arm with surprising strength. Her cold touch made him shiver. "You cannot run from this," she whispered, only for him to hear. "Your fate is sealed." The council rose as one, chanting words in their alien tongue. The sound echoed through the hall, deep and haunting. Daniel felt his knees grow weak. His life, his freedom, his future, all of it was slipping away. When the chanting stopped, the elder spoke again. "In 3 days you will meet the granddaughter. In 7 days you will be wed. This is the law. This is the way." The guard stepped forward, leading Daniel out. His mind was spinning. Marriage? Family? Law? None of it made sense. He had only wanted to help, to do something good. And now he was trapped in an alien custom he didn't understand. As he left the council hall, whispers followed him. The human, the chosen one. The one bound to the bloodline. Daniel clenched his fists, his heart pounding. He knew one thing for sure. His life would never be the same again. Daniel could not sleep that night. He lay in his small room, staring at the ceiling, his mind spinning like a storm. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard the words of the council echoing again and again. "In 7 days you will be wed. This is the law. This is the way." He kept telling himself it was impossible. It had to be a mistake. He had only carried bags for an old woman. He had never agreed to marriage, never even thought about it. Yet the council's glowing eyes, the cold grip of the alien grandma, and the heavy silence of the hall told him it was no mistake. Morning came too quickly. Daniel had hoped maybe it was all a dream, but the moment he stepped outside, he knew it was real. People were staring at him. Some whispered, others nodded in respect, and a few even laughed quietly behind his back. The human who was going to marry an alien. The chosen one. The bonded. Everywhere he went, the whispers followed. By midday, the guards came again. This time, they did not lead him to the council hall. They took him to the colony's main square. The square was huge, surrounded by tall alien buildings covered in glowing symbols. A massive crowd had gathered, humans and aliens alike. At the center stood a high platform decorated with banners of silver and blue. Daniel's heart dropped. He already guessed what was coming. The alien elders stood on the platform, their robes flowing, their glowing eyes fixed on the crowd. Beside them, the alien grandma stood tall and proud, looking far stronger than she had when he first saw her. Her gaze found Daniel, and once again he felt trapped under her stare. The elder with silver skin and horns raised his hand, and silence spread across the square. His deep voice echoed like thunder. "People of the colony! A bond has been made, a vow sealed by kindness and fate. A human has honored our sacred custom by aiding a keeper of the ancient ways. And now, he shall honor it fully." The crowd murmured. Daniel's throat tightened. The elder's voice grew louder. "In 7 days, the human Daniel will be joined in marriage to the granddaughter of the keeper. Their union will mark the strengthening of our bond with humanity. This is the law. This is the way." The crowd erupted in noise, some cheering, some gasping, some whispering in disbelief. Daniel stood frozen, his chest tight. He wanted to shout that he never agreed, that this was insane, but his voice was stuck inside him. 2 guards pushed him gently toward the platform. Reluctantly, Daniel stepped up. He faced the sea of faces, some curious, some mocking, some hopeful. His legs felt heavy, his palms sweaty. The alien grandma stepped forward and placed her cold hand on his shoulder. She raised her other hand toward the sky. "This human carried my burden," she declared in a strong voice. "Now he will carry my family. He is chosen by fate, and fate cannot be denied." The crowd roared again. Daniel's heart raced. He felt like an animal on display. His mind screamed for escape, but he saw the guards at every corner, and the glowing eyes of the elders watching closely. There was no way out. Then something unexpected happened. A voice rose from the crowd. A human voice. "This isn't right." He didn't know the custom. Daniel's eyes widened. A young man pushed forward, his face angry, his fists clenched. He was another human colonist. The guards moved quickly, grabbing him before he could reach the platform. The silver-skinned elder's voice boomed again. "Silence. The law is not for humans to question. The bond is eternal." The young man struggled, shouting, "You can't force him. He's one of us. He didn't choose this." Daniel's heart ached. For the first time, someone was speaking for him. But the guards dragged the man away, and soon his voice faded into silence. The elder turned back to the crowd. "The union will happen. Let no one challenge it again." Daniel stood stiff, his mind spinning. The entire colony now knew his fate. There was no hiding, no denying. In 7 days he would marry a stranger, bound by alien law he never understood. As the ceremony ended and the crowd began to scatter, the alien grandma leaned closer to him. Her glowing eyes burned into his. "You see now, human," she whispered. "There is no escape. The bond is stronger than your fear, stronger than your will." Daniel swallowed hard, his fists clenched at his sides. He wanted to scream, to run, to fight, but something told him it would be useless. Still, deep inside, a small spark of defiance burned. He was human. He had always believed humans were weak among the stars, but maybe that was not true. Maybe there was still a way out. As the guards escorted him back, Daniel made a silent promise to himself. He would not give up. He would not let his life be stolen so easily. But for now, the whole colony believed his fate was sealed. And in the shadows of the council tower, unseen by the crowd, a pair of glowing eyes watched Daniel closely. Eyes that belonged not to the alien grandma, but to someone else. Someone who was waiting for him. The days after the announcement were heavy for Daniel. Every step he took in the colony, he felt the weight of eyes following him. Humans looked at him with pity, some with jealousy, while aliens nodded with respect as if he had done something great. But Daniel did not feel like a hero. He felt like a prisoner walking toward a fate he never asked for. He kept thinking of escape. He thought of hiding in the outer farms, of stealing a ship, of begging the human governor for help. But everywhere he turned, he saw guards, glowing eyes, and the shadow of the alien grandma. She was always near, always watching, as if she could read his mind. On the third day, the guards came again. But this time, their words chilled him more than before. "It is time. You will meet the granddaughter." Daniel's stomach dropped. The granddaughter. The one he was supposed to marry in just 4 days. He had imagined her in many ways. Tall and terrifying, or strange and cruel, or perhaps weak and unwilling like himself. The truth, he feared, would be worse than anything he imagined. The guards led him through narrow streets to a quiet district at the edge of the colony. The houses here were older, carved with symbols that glowed faintly in the dim light. The air smelled of spice and smoke. At the end of the path stood a house larger than the rest, with tall doors and strange banners fluttering in the wind. Inside, the air was cool and heavy. The alien grandma waited in the main hall, her glowing eyes sharp as ever. She did not speak much, just motioned for Daniel to follow. He obeyed, though every step made his chest tighten. Finally, they entered a room lit with soft blue crystals. And there, standing in the center, was the granddaughter. Daniel froze. She was not what he expected. She looked young, maybe close to his own age. Her skin had the same soft green shade as her grandmother's, but faint silver lines ran across her arms and neck, glowing gently like rivers of light. Her hair was dark, falling in waves, and her eyes, large and golden, watched him with a mix of fear and curiosity. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then she spoke, her voice low but clear. "So, you are the human?" Daniel's mouth felt dry. "And you're the granddaughter?" She gave a small, sad smile. "Yes, my name is Lyra." Daniel didn't know what to say. Part of him wanted to shout, to say this was wrong, that he never agreed. But when he looked into her eyes, he saw something unexpected. She was afraid too. "You don't want this either, do you?" Daniel asked quietly. Her golden eyes flickered. She glanced at the door, making sure the grandma wasn't listening, then stepped closer. "No," she whispered. "I never wanted this. But I cannot refuse. If you refuse, we both will suffer. If I refuse, my family will be shamed. Do you understand?" Daniel's heart pounded. "Suffer? How?" Lyra's voice trembled. "The council will punish us. They call it dishonor. They will not kill us. But what they do may be worse. They will exile us into the wastelands." Daniel shivered. He had heard of the wastelands. They were deserts of fire and storms, places no one could survive for long. He wanted to run, but now he understood. Lyra was as much a prisoner as he was. "I just wanted to help your grandmother," Daniel said, his voice breaking. "I didn't know about your customs." "I know," Lyra whispered. "She chose you. She saw something in you. That is why you are here." Daniel frowned. "Chose me? Why me? There are hundreds of humans here. Why not someone else?" Lyra lowered her eyes. "Because you are different. You helped her when no one else would. That makes you valuable to her, and to the council." Daniel's fists clenched. He hated the word valuable. He was not a tool, not a prize to be traded. He was a person. Before he could answer, the door creaked. The alien grandma entered, her glowing eyes scanning the room. Lyra immediately stepped back, her expression turning cold and formal. The grandma looked at Daniel. "You have met. Soon you will be joined. This is a day of honor." Daniel forced himself to stay quiet, though anger burned inside him. The grandma's gaze moved between the two of them. Then she left again, her footsteps echoing down the hall. When the door shut, Lyra's mask broke. She turned back to Daniel, her voice urgent. "Listen, do not fight in the open. Do not show anger before them. If you do, they will crush you. If you want freedom, you must be clever." Daniel's breath caught. Her words carried both warning and hope. She did not want this any more than he did. But maybe, just maybe, together they could find a way out. For the first time since this nightmare began, Daniel felt something he had not felt before. He was not alone. The days moved quickly. Only 3 days were left before the wedding, and Daniel felt as if he was living in someone else's life. He walked through the colony streets, and everyone treated him differently now. Humans looked at him like he had betrayed them, as if marrying an alien was shameful. Aliens, however, bowed their heads with respect, whispering words he could not understand. Daniel hated both reactions. He had not chosen this. Yet now he was caught between two worlds, one that mistrusted him and one that wanted to own him. That evening, the guards came again. "It is time," they said. "You must join the trials," Daniel frowned. "Trials?" The guards did not answer. They only led him through the glowing streets until they reached a grand square. Hundreds of aliens stood there waiting. At the center was a large stone circle marked with glowing runes. The council elders sat high on their seats, and the alien grandma stood proudly at the front. Lyra was there too, her golden eyes watching him nervously. The silver-skinned elder raised his hand. His voice thundered across the square. "According to our law, before the joining, the human must face the trials of honor. He must show he can respect our traditions, eat our food, speak our words, and face our challenges." Daniel's chest tightened. Trials? He had no training, no knowledge of their ways. This was not just a wedding, it was a test of his very humanity. The first trial began with food. A servant brought out bowls filled with steaming alien dishes. The smell was sharp and bitter like smoke mixed with metal. The elder gestured. "Eat." Daniel picked up the bowl and looked inside. Strange wriggling pieces floated in thick liquid. His stomach twisted. It looked alive. He glanced at Lyra. She gave him the smallest nod as if to say, "Do it or they will punish you." Daniel took a deep breath and forced a spoonful into his mouth. The taste burned his tongue, sour and electric like biting into fire. He wanted to spit it out, but he swallowed. The crowd cheered. The elder nodded in approval. The second trial was language. An elder stood before him, speaking in sharp alien words. Daniel had only learned a few phrases, but he tried. His voice cracked, his tongue twisted, but somehow he managed to repeat the words. The crowd murmured. Some laughed, others nodded. The elder said coldly, "Clumsy, but acceptable." The third trial was harder. Combat. A tall alien warrior stepped forward, his body covered in blue scales, his eyes glowing red. He carried a staff tipped with energy. Daniel's heart sank. He had no weapon, no armor, no training. The elder announced, "The human must face challenge. He must prove courage," the warrior attacked. Daniel barely dodged the first strike, the staff cracking against the stone floor. He stumbled, his heart racing. The crowd roared. The warrior swung again, and Daniel rolled to the side, grabbing a broken piece of stone from the ground. It was all he had. The fight was clumsy and desperate. The warrior was strong, trained, and merciless. Daniel was fast but weak, fighting only to survive. He used the stone to block, to strike, to defend himself. Every hit sent pain through his body, but he refused to fall. At last, the warrior raised his staff for a final blow. Daniel, in a burst of desperation, lunged forward, slamming the stone into the warrior's chest. The alien stumbled, shocked. The crowd gasped. The warrior growled but lowered his weapon. He gave Daniel a sharp nod. The elder's voice echoed again. "The human has courage. He passes." Daniel collapsed to his knees, gasping for air. His body ached, his arms shook, but deep inside a spark of pride burned. He had survived, but the trials were not over. That night in the council chamber, the elders whispered among themselves. Daniel stood at the center, bruised and tired. Finally, the silver-skinned elder spoke. "You have eaten our food. You have spoken our words. You have faced our warrior. You are one step closer to becoming part of our bloodline." Daniel's fists clenched. He hated their words, bloodline. He was not a tool, not a prize, not something to be tested. But he stayed quiet. As the guards escorted him out, Lyra caught up to him. Her voice was soft but urgent. "You did well. But listen to me. These trials are not only for tradition, they are watching you. They want to see if humans can truly become part of us." Daniel frowned. "Part of you? What does that mean?" Lyra's golden eyes glowed faintly. She leaned closer, whispering, "It means you are not just marrying me. You are an experiment. They want to see if humanity can mix with our kind. If you succeed, more humans may be forced into this. If you fail, you may not survive." Daniel's blood turned cold. This was bigger than him, bigger than one marriage. He was standing in the middle of something that could decide the future of his entire species. For the first time, Daniel realized the truth. This was not only about him, this was about humanity itself. Daniel could still feel the bruises on his arms and the burn in his chest from the trials. His body ached, but his mind refused to rest. Lyra's warning echoed inside him. "You are not just marrying me. You are an experiment. The thought twisted his stomach. An experiment? That meant he was never seen as a person to them, only a test subject. He wasn't chosen because of love, respect, or honor. He was chosen because of what he was. Human. That night, he lay awake in his small room, staring at the alien ceiling. Strange glowing lines pulsed across the walls like veins carrying light. He hated them. He hated the way they watched him, the way the entire colony whispered about him. He wanted to scream, to run, to fight, but he couldn't. He was trapped. The next morning, the guards came again. Their voices were flat. "The council summons you." Daniel followed, his heart pounding faster with each step. This time, they led him not to the council hall or the trial grounds, but to a hidden chamber beneath the tower. The air was colder here, heavy with the smell of dust and old stone. Strange symbols glowed on the walls, far older than the colony itself. The alien grandma was waiting inside, her glowing eyes sharper than ever. The silver-skinned elder stood beside her, along with two others. Their faces were serious, their voices low. The elder spoke first. "Human, you have shown strength. You have shown courage. Now you must know the truth." Daniel's fists clenched. "What truth?" The alien grandma stepped forward. Her thin fingers reached out, brushing against his chest. Daniel flinched at her cold touch. "You humans," she said slowly, "are rare. You are different from us. Your blood carries something powerful, something we cannot create." Daniel frowned. "Blood? What are you talking about?" The silver-skinned elder's eyes glowed brighter. "For many generations our people have grown weaker. Our lines fade, our strength declines. We needed something new, something strong. We saw it in you humans, in your spirit, in your will, in your blood." Daniel's stomach twisted. "So this marriage, it's not about custom. It's about survival." The elder nodded. "Yes, the old custom was real, but now we use it for a greater purpose. By joining with us, you will bring new life to our kind. Your children will carry our blood in yours. They will be stronger. They will save us." Daniel's breath caught. Children. The word echoed in his mind like thunder. They weren't only forcing him into marriage, they wanted him to create a new generation. His hands shook with anger. "I'm not a breeding tool. I'm not here to save your species." The alien grandma's eyes narrowed. "You already agreed when you carried my burden." Daniel's voice rose, trembling with rage. "I didn't agree. I was just helping. That's what humans do, we help each other. That doesn't mean I belong to you." The elders stared at him, their expressions cold. The silver-skinned elder finally spoke. "Whether you accept it or not, the bond is sealed. If you run, we will hunt you. If you fight, you will lose. If you refuse, you will die. There is no other path." Daniel's heart pounded. The walls felt like they were closing in on him. He wanted to shout more, but he knew it was useless. These aliens had already decided his fate. Suddenly, he felt a hand on his arm. He turned. It was Lyra. She had entered silently, her golden eyes full of fear but also fire. She looked at the elders, then back at Daniel. "Enough," she said softly. "He understands." The elders nodded and left the chamber, leaving only Lyra, Daniel, and the alien grandma. The old woman's gaze burned into him before she too walked away. Now only Lyra remained. She stepped closer, her voice urgent. "Now you see the truth. This is not just about us. They want to use you. They want to use all humans once they know it works. You are the first test." Daniel swallowed hard. "So what do we do?" Lyra's golden eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "We pretend. For now we let them believe. But if you truly want freedom, if you truly want to escape this, you must trust me. 'Cause I don't want this either. I don't want to be part of their plan." Daniel looked at her carefully. For the first time he saw not just fear in her eyes, but strength. She was as much a prisoner as he was, but she was ready to fight. "Do you have a plan?" he whispered. Lyra hesitated, then nodded slowly. "I may, but we must wait until the wedding day. That is when they will be watching the least. And when we have the chance to strike." Daniel's heart raced. Hope flickered inside him. For days he had felt alone, trapped in a nightmare. But now, standing beside Lyra, he felt a spark of something different. Maybe, just maybe, they could fight back. But deep inside he knew the truth. The wedding day was not the end of his nightmare. It was only the beginning. The day of the wedding arrived. The entire colony buzzed with energy. Streets were decorated with glowing banners of silver and blue. Drums echoed from every corner, their deep rhythm shaking the ground. Aliens in ceremonial robes filled the main square, their glowing eyes watching eagerly. Even the humans had gathered, some curious, some angry, some whispering prayers that Daniel might somehow be spared. But for Daniel, the world felt heavy and dark. His body walked, led by guards, but his heart fought every step. He wore a ceremonial robe given by the elders, its fabric strange and heavy, its glowing symbols pressing against his skin like chains. At the center of the square stood a high platform. Upon it was an altar carved from shining crystal, glowing with blue fire. The elders waited there, their faces cold and proud. The alien grandma stood near the altar, her eyes fixed on Daniel as if daring him to resist. And then she arrived. Lyra walked slowly up the platform, dressed in a robe of silver light. Her golden eyes glowed softly, her face calm yet unreadable. The crowd roared with approval, chanting her name, chanting his name, chanting for the union of blood. Daniel's chest tightened. He glanced at Lyra, searching her face. For a moment he saw fear. Then very quickly she gave him the smallest nod. It was almost invisible, but Daniel saw it. The signal. The elder with silver skin raised his arms. His voice boomed across the square. Today the bond of kindness becomes the bond of blood. Today a human and one of our kind will be joined. Their children will carry our future. This is the law. This is the way. The crowd cheered, their voices like thunder. Daniel felt his stomach twist. This was it. The moment of no return. The elder turned to Daniel. Do you accept this bond, human? Do you swear to join your blood with ours? Daniel froze. His mouth was dry, his hands trembling. The crowd grew silent, waiting for his answer. The grandma's eyes glowed brighter, warning him. Then he looked at Lyra. Her eyes locked on his, shining with a quiet fire. She whispered so softly only he could hear. Choose wisely. Choose for both of us. Daniel took a deep breath. He closed his eyes for a moment, hearing every voice inside him. His fear, his anger, his humanity. And then slowly he opened them. I accept, he said loudly. The crowd erupted in cheers, chanting, clapping, stomping. The elders nodded with satisfaction. The alien grandma smiled for the first time, her sharp teeth glinting. But then Daniel spoke again, his voice stronger, louder, filled with defiance. I accept, but not because of your law. Not because of your counsel. Not because you forced me. I accept because I will not let her suffer for your games. He pointed at Lyra. I stand here for her, not for you. The square fell silent. The elder's glowing eyes narrowed. Whispers spread like fire. Daniel's chest rose and fell, his fists clenched. You think humans are tools? You think we are weak. But you forget our kindness is not weakness. Our love is not weakness. Our courage is not weakness. You want to use us? Then know this, humanity cannot be owned. We choose for ourselves, the crowd gasped. Some aliens roared in anger, others stared in shock. The elders rose from their seats, their robes glowing brighter, their voices echoing with fury. But before they could speak, Lyra stepped forward. Her golden eyes blazed, and I choose him, not because of tradition, not because of blood, but because he is free and I want to be free with him. The square erupted into chaos. Some cheered, some shouted, some screamed in rage. The alien grandma's face twisted with fury. She raised her hand, but Lyra grabbed Daniel's arm, pulling him away from the altar. Now, she whispered. Daniel and Lyra ran. Guards tried to block them, but the crowd's chaos slowed everything. Humans in the square shouted, some even throwing stones at the guards to protect Daniel. For the first time, humans and aliens clashed openly in the colony. The elders shouted, their voices booming, but Daniel didn't stop. He ran with Lyra through the twisting streets, his heart pounding, his breath burning. Behind them, alarms echoed. Finally, they reached the edge of the colony where the walls touched the wasteland. A small ship waited there, Lyra's secret. She had prepared it just as she promised. Daniel looked back. The colony glowed with fire and chaos. The alien grandma stood at the highest tower, her glowing eyes burning like flames. He knew this was not the end. She would hunt them. The council would hunt them. But as the ship rose into the sky carrying them away, Daniel felt something new for the first time since this nightmare began. Hope. He looked at Lyra. She looked back, her golden eyes shining not with fear but with freedom. Whatever waited for them out there in the stars, in the wastelands, in the unknown, they would face it together. And for Daniel, one truth was clear. Humans were not weak. Humans were not tools. And no alien law could ever change that, because sometimes one act of kindness could start a war. Or it could start something greater.